The PWHL has a rule that the NHL doesn't, and it makes gameplay really exciting. Welcome back to the final day of the 25 Days of Sportsmas, the series where every day I've been telling you a story about sports that I think will get you into them for the first time. Now, if you're freshly getting into hockey but you didn't know that there was a professional women's hockey league, then you definitely don't know about the jailbreak rule. In hockey, whether it's the PWHL or the NHL, when a player commits a penalty, we do what every civilized society does and we send them to timeout. When a team does have a player that goes into the penalty box, they then play shorthanded and the other team gets what's called a power play. A power play just means that for the period of time that your opponent has a member of their team in the penalty box, you get to play with more players on the ice than the other team does. Now, regardless of which league you're in, the NHL or the PWHL, a minor penalty is ended if the team that is on the power play scores a goal before that time runs out. Once the team that is on a power play scores, the player who is in the penalty box is able to come out of the box even if their time hasn't been completely served. However, the unique part about the PWHL's jailbreak rule is that there's another way to get your teammate out of the penalty box early, and that is by scoring a shorthanded goal. So in the NHL, there's only two ways to end a power play. Either the time runs out on the penalty, or the opposing team that's on the power play scores on your team, and the penalty is then ended and you can return to full strength. With the jailbreak rule, the third way that you can end a penalty early is that when you're shorthanded, you can attempt to score a goal, and if you do, you break your teammate out of jail or the penalty box. Now, the reason this is so interesting and exciting is that typically when you watch a team play shorthanded, they're going to really just try to keep the puck out of their own goal and not really attempt to play strong offense. There's a lot of risk involved in playing with less players on the ice and trying to actually score, because if something goes wrong and you lose possession, you have less people to make it back down the ice with your opponent and play defense. So a lot of times during power plays, you just see the defending team try to dump the puck out of their zone and focus on defensive play until the clock runs out. With the jailbreak rule, if you're able to actually play aggressive offense with only 4 players on the ice, or if you have more than one person in the penalty box, even less than that, and actually score a goal, you're rewarded for doing so. The jailbreak rule in the PWHL really encourages aggressive and ongoing offense even when you're shorthanded, and the league itself is a very fun and intense league to watch across the board. So if you're just getting into hockey, I highly recommend checking out not only the NHL but also the PWHL, and of course watching a number of the women in that league head to the Olympics in February in Milan. Today is the very last day of the year and subsequently the last day of Sportsmas. Hopefully one of the stories this month has helped you get into sports for the very first time, or helped you discover a new sport that you want to add to your watch list. If you've enjoyed these stories and you've enjoyed this type of storytelling, be sure to follow along into 2026, because I will be covering all of the same sports that we covered in Sportsmas, as well as a pretty big deep dive into the Olympics as we get ready for them in February. You can also expect basics explainers, athlete interviews, deep dives, history, and help finding your favorite player in every sport. I hope you've enjoyed Sportsmas this year, and I will see you in 2026.